D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds, and welcome to my weekend review where I come to you every Sunday with 3 entertainment stories that I personally find interesting, and then we discuss them down below. Now, also down below, you can find the articles that I read to bring you this video, and you can read them for yourself, or you can just sit back and watch this video where I'm going to read them to you. Also, before I get started, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we always get shoved to the back of the line. So please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get started, you guys? And boy, oh boy, this week, man, we're keep scraping the bottom of the barrel with news these days because of this strike. And let's get started on our first story, which has to deal with the strike a little bit. So it looks like Warner Brothers is going to be suspending some deals over because of the strike. And I have to be honest with you, I'm not unhappy about it. I'm kind of like, this is probably a good choice. All right, let's read this article from Variety, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it afterwards and during and stuff. So this says, J.J. Abrams Bad Robot, Greg Berlanti, Mindy Kaling, Bill Lawrence, and more overall deals suspended by Warner Brothers TV. And those are those three. That's J.J. Abrams, Mindy Kaling, and Greg Berlanti right there in that picture. The triple threat of bad TV. Okay, so it says Warner Brothers TV has suspended overall deals with more of its A-list marquee producers, which is believed to include Greg Berlanti, Bill Lawrence, John Wells, Chuck Lorre, and Mindy Kaling, as well as J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot shingle. I want to talk about all three of those people that were pictured in there. But yeah, okay. So it says some of those names, including Wells and Lorre, had their deals suspended months ago, early on in the Writers Guild of America strike. Others had shows in various stages of post-production when the work stoppage began, May 2nd, where were kept status quo while episodes were completed. The latest, because once they're done filming, they can complete it, they can edit it and all that stuff. They don't have to wait for writers and stuff like that. Anyways, the latest news of suspensions comes months after Warner Brothers TV, along with Amazon, HBO, Warner Brothers TV, NBC, Universal did. Okay, anyways, and other major struck studios already hit pause on some first look and overall deals amid the ongoing writer's strike. So it says those suspensions took place in May, soon after the WGA strike began, and didn't include producers who still had shows in production. This was before SAG and AFTRA also went on strike starting July 14th. But for more than 2 months after the WGA went pencils down, some actors were still on some sets finishing productions on projects with completed scripts. Some writer-producers also doubled as DGA, that's Directors Guild of America, members and directors on their projects, because the DGA sealed a new deal with the horrible acronym, and has not been on strike. Those duties have still been allowed during these recent months. And yeah, the Directors Guild of America, they signed their deal like right away. They didn't even negotiate. It looked like they just signed, and they were not standing with the writers, because remember, the writers were going to go on strike, and the directors, the head of the Directors Guild, the head of the Writers Guild, and then the head of the Actors Guild were all together in one picture. And they're like, we stand with you and all that bullshit. And then they were like, we stand with you, as they signed their deal. But production has been almost completely shut down since SAG and AFTRA joined the Writers Guild of America members on the picket line in July. Once talent is no longer able to render services, the policy is generally to suspend deals. Such a deal suspension is different from overall terminations, which so far have not been widely seen in the industry, even though the writer's strike has already passed 90-day mark when, historically, deal makers have the option to kill agreements in the face of an act of God, the common show business interpretation for how the phrase force majeure applies to these types of labor shutdowns. I'm not going to, let me read this last one because it's only 2 paragraphs. Overall deals typically pay overhead for the writers, company, and fund the development of projects. First look deals also provide financial padding and in return guarantee the studio or company has favored nation. So what that is saying is basically like, okay, so if you sign an overall deal with a studio, they will pay for you to have, they will pay for first looks. So they get first look at anything you want to produce. So let's say, I want to produce a show about a dad with 2 kids, but he's a superhero. Okay. They would say they could either pass on it and but they get the first look. So they get you go to them and you say, hey, do you want this show idea that I have? And they say, yes, we want it, put it in production, and we'll give you this amount of budget for each episode. And then, or they say, no, we're going to pass. And then you can take it to another studio. But also what they do is they pay for you to have offices, usually on the studio lot, and they pay for your offices and they pay for, your staffing of those offices. Usually it's not a huge staff, but staffing of those offices. And they usually pay for, they give you a little bit of money so you can go out and let's say you read a book and you're like, oh my God, this would make a great movie. Then they give you a little bit of money so you can pay for the rights to that book. So that's basically what an overall deal gets you and everything. But so I'm not going to read the rest of this because I'm pretty much just talked about this. So I want to talk about, wait, it mentioned Bad Robot, I think. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, okay. It did mention Bad Robot, but we're going to talk about this. So these 3, in my opinion, losers right here. Okay, so you have J.J. Abrams, Mindy Kaling, and Greg Berlanti. I'll talk about Greg Berlanti first because I think that Greg Berlanti, when he first started out at Warner Brothers making these superhero shows, I think he was doing a good job. When you had Arrow seasons 1 and 2, fabulous. So freaking good. Flash season 1, kind of season 2. Season 2 was pretty good too. So we'll give him season 1, season 2. Fantastic. Loved him. It was then after that stuff started to go downhill in quality, in writing, in acting, in every sense of the word, because it just went downhill. And I don't think that Greg Berlanti was involved as much as he was at the beginning. And I think that was a problem. So I don't feel bad if his stuff gets and suspended. Everything is suspended. No, none of these people have gotten their deals terminated, which means they're gone. And they could pull a force majeure like they did with the last writer's strike. There was a bunch of people where they had deals with them and they were just like, we're sorry, you force majeure. This is an act of God. We are just going to we're going to pass. We're going to say, we're just going to cut ties and we're just done. And I think that especially with these 3, they should do it. They should. I mean, maybe they could keep Greg Berlanti on, but they'd be like, Greg, we need you to step up because the next writer's strike, you're gone, fucker. So I think that he could make a good product. Now, as far as Mindy Kaling goes, what a useless person. I'm sorry, but Mindy Kaling, in my opinion, is not a good actress. She's not a good writer. I don't find her funny. None of her shit's good. I'm sorry. Did you see the Mindy Kaling show? It wasn't good. It wasn't good. I mean, she was kind of good on The Office, but let's be honest, she was a secondary character on that show. I mean, she had like maybe a couple of lines every episode. So big whoop. That's fine. But the Velma show was pure fucking trash. It was dog shit. And I'm sorry. If you love that show, obviously you have no taste, but it wasn't good. And she wrote that show. And I think she voiced I think she voiced Velma, which I just go, okay, she got herself some more money. I'm sorry. She's a useless talent. I mean, she's mediocre, and that's me being generous. Okay. As far as J.J. Abrams goes, J.J. Abrams is the bane of Hollywood's existence. J.J. Abrams, and I'm telling you right now, they put a pause on his stuff before this, I believe. They should get rid of him completely. I think they should sue to get their money back because they paid him, what was it, $500 million for him to produce projects at Warner Brothers, and he literally has done nothing. All he does is sit there and be like, hey, I got an idea for a cool Constantine show. And then nothing happens. It never goes forward. None of his shit has come to fruition. He's a terrible writer. He's such a hack. He's the worst science fiction writer I've ever seen in my entire life. He just sucks balls. He's terrible. He's not good at the job. I just think I think he's just terrible. And Bad Robot sucks. They everything they put out is mediocre at best also. And again, that's me being generous. His Star Trek sucks. Or his, well, I don't think he does Star Trek himself when it comes to the shows right now, but he like taught all these people, like Kurtzman, he's a protege of JJ Abrams, and he told them, just find something and copy it, just change it a little bit. But his Star Trek movies sucked. He's terrible. All his movies, I mean, his movies can be good, but I mean, like, so what? He just sucks. I'm sorry. I think JJ Abrams is just a terrible everything. So I would get rid of him and I would never work with Bad Robot if I was a studio. I'd be like, no, you guys would just make trash. I'm gonna try to find the next up and comer. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. And Star Wars was a complete mess. Yeah, I would just completely, if I was a studio, I'd cut off Bad Robot and never talk to them ever again. I'd just be like, no, I don't think so, you guys. Unless you have the next Spielberg, which I doubt. I don't want to talk to any of you. So those have been suspended. And if I was Zaslav, I'd terminate, save the money. I mean, that's probably the best choice at this moment in time. I think so. So we'll see how this all turns out. See if these people come back with their stuff and everything, but hopefully not. You know what I'm saying? That was my first story of the week. So for my second story of the week, okay, so The Crow is getting a reboot. I think I talked about this earlier in a video, but I want to talk about it now because this movie is done and it's ready to be put out, and it looks like they're gonna do it. So they're gonna put it out and everything. So it stars Billy Skarsgård, who I don't know if he's the best choice for this, but we'll talk about that. And yeah, so it says, The Crow reboot will with Bill Skarsgård and FKA Twigs. What a horrible fucking name. Sorry, Twigs. You're very pretty and everything, and maybe you're a good actress, but what a horrible fucking name. Files to Lionsgate in 8-figure domestic deal, Toronto. Whatever that means, Toronto. Okay, so it says, Lionsgate has just tied up an 8-figure deal for domestic rights to The Crow reboot, we can reveal. And that just means when they say the domestic rights, they're going to distribute it domestically in America and everything, or in the United States. Singer-songwriter FKA Twigs, again, it's such a dumb fucking name, and Danny Hodson lead Rupert Sanders' reimagining of the 1994 cult classic that memorably starred Brandon Lee in his last film role. So it says, in the original revenge thriller, a man who is brutally murdered comes back to life as an undead avenger of his and his fiance's deaths. Both movies are based on the graphic novel of the Gothic character created, written, and illustrated by James O. Barr, which, by the way, is very good. I'm going to talk about the comic book as soon as we get through this. But yeah. CEA Media Finance handled the deal for the film's domestic rights. John Bionodo, I don't know how to say his last name, oversaw behalf of Lionsgate with the pact finalized the late Wednesday night as TIFF Festival and Market gets underway. The movie is expected to release next year, which is probably really good for them and the movie biz. The script for the reboot comes from Oscar nominee Zach Baylin, King Richard, and Will Schneider, also starring Laura Byrne, Sammy Bajali, and Jordan Blogger. So it just looks like all this stuff. Let's go back and down to the this bottom part, and then I'll give you my thoughts, you guys. The $50 million budgeted film was shot on location in Prague, and Munich. International sales are handled by Film Nation. Okay, nobody cares. We appreciate what the Crow character and original movie means to legions of fans, and believe this new film will offer audiences an authentic and visceral reinterpretation of its emotional power and mythology, said Lionsgate EVP. Okay, who cares? Okay. So I want to talk about this. So you guys, all right, first things first. The graphic novel is very good, in my opinion. They changed some stuff in the original 1994 movie from the comic book. Like there's in the comic book, there's a lot of stuff with horses, which I didn't personally like, but whatever, what are you going to do? But in that one, there's 5 dudes and they kill him and his fiance. And I believe they're in a camper. Like they shoot them. They don't throw them out of a window and everything. But the comic book is very good. It's very good, you guys. I suggest picking it up. It's very good. In the movie, it was played by Brandon Lee, and I saw a lot of people, because I'm going to talk about casting right now. I saw a lot of people bitching and moaning that they didn't cast an Asian guy, or at least a half Asian guy. And I just want to be like, just because Brandon Lee was half Asian doesn't mean that this new one has to be half Asian or Asian. Get the fuck out of here with that noise. You guys are such little bitches sometimes. I mean, if they had cast an Asian guy, I wouldn't care. But when you're all like, oh, they didn't cast an Asian guy, I'm all like, oh my God, you guys like whine about every fucking thing every 5 minutes. It's like, so what? But they cast Billy Skarsgård. I don't know if this was the best choice, because Billy Skarsgård's not hot. I'm sorry, but he's like got that weird eye, like in this picture. He's got that weird eye thing going on, and I'm not 100% sure that that's the best thing on the planet for your Crow movie, because if the Crow showed up and he had a wonky eye, I'd just laugh. I'd be like, hey, it, but with, goth it. But we'll see how it works out. FKA Twigs, I have no idea if she's a good actress. I haven't seen her in anything. She's very pretty. We'll see how it works out. I have nothing to say about her except for her name sucks. FKA Twigs. What a long thing to say for, should just be Twigs. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But okay, so will this movie be good? Oh, and Rupert, what's his name? Rupert Sanders. He's directing, and if you guys remember, he directed that Snow White movie and The Huntsman. And there's a big scandal because he cheated with Kristen Stewart on the set of that, and there were pictures taken by paparazzi and everything. And the Twilight fans like freaked out. Well, more like Robert Pattinson fans freaked out on her because they're like, how could you do that to him, to Robert Pattinson? And I'm all like, oh, who cares? Because the Sanders guy's good looking or whatever. But, but now she's gay. So that's what that probably was. She was just trying to figure herself out. But yeah, so will this movie be good? I don't know, but I'm going to watch it because I love The Crow. I even love all those stupid sequels. Like I love the sequels. They're so dumb, but I just love them. I watch them I don't watch them all the time, but whenever I get a chance to watch them, I do, because they're so they're just good. Like not good in the sense they're just bad, but they're bad. They're good, bad. You know what I'm saying? And I enjoy them. So, and there was that TV show, watch that shit too. So anyways, okay. But yeah, we'll see how this turns out and everything. Are you going to go see it? Tell me about that. All right, you guys. So that was my second story of the week. So for my third and final story of the week, and this one's a smaller story, but again, like I said before, I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel when it comes to entertainment news. So Scream's Kevin Wilson says he wants Neve Campbell to return to franchise. Pay her the money. So this comes from Deadline. And if you don't know who Kevin Williams is, he directed Scream 3. I can't remember. Maybe he wrote it. I can't remember. Yeah, off the top of my head. But he's from Scream 3, I believe. And he's saying pay Neve Campbell the money. And I couldn't agree more. I still haven't seen that sixth movie. I'm going to have to watch it because me and my sister have a podcast and we're going to review it. But I personally, I didn't see the last one because they didn't have Neve Campbell in it. I'm sorry. If you bring Neve Campbell back and you kill her character, fine. That's fine because, I understand that's how it works. But do not bring her back. Like I don't want to see a movie with her not in it. So I say bring her back. Pay her the money. It can't be that much more. Come on. So let me read this article and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. Anyways, Neve Campbell, who played Sidney Prescott in the first 5 movies in the Scream horror franchise, did not appear in the most recent pick. This year's successful Scream 6. Hold on, sorry guys. Amid a salary dispute, series creator Kevin Williamson, okay, he's the creator, has a response for that. All I can say is pay her the money, Williams said during an interview on the latest episode of the Happy Horror Time podcast that dropped this week. Okay, sorry, I said he was the writer, director, or whatever, but he's not. Okay, so it says, Williamson was asked by podcast host Tim Murdoch and Matt Emmert his thoughts on Campbell's decision to not be in the movie, which she made public in June 2022, saying, "As a woman, I have had to work extremely hard in my career to establish my value, especially when it comes to Scream. I felt the offer that was presented to me did not equate to the value I have brought to the franchise." True, 100%. She is that franchise. No one else. And I'm sorry, if you don't bring her back, it's bad on you. Bad news bears, in my opinion. Anyways, she later expanded on her reasoning, noting that if she were a man and had done 5 installments of a huge blockbuster franchise over 25 years, the number she was offered wouldn't have been the same. "In my soul, I just couldn't do that," she said. "I couldn't walk on set feeling undervalued and feeling the unfairness or lack of fairness around that." Williams, as part of the wide-ranging podcast discussion, said he respected her decision. Yeah. That's what I'm always, what gets me about Hollywood? They're always screaming in your face about, equal pay and all this bullshit. And I believe in name recognition for a movie. Like, if you have higher name recognition, you should get paid more. I'm sorry, but that's, I believe that. And if you don't negotiate that, then that's on you. But Neve Campbell is the Scream franchise. I'm sorry, Sidney Prescott, who is Neve Campbell, is the Scream franchise. And there's nobody else that has the same recognition with that franchise. I mean, you can say Gale Weathers and Dewey and all that bullshit, but no, it's Sidney Prescott, it's Neve Campbell. So she is that franchise, and she's 100% right. She might have got paid more. A man would probably have gotten paid more on a big blockbuster franchise. And I'm sorry, she's totally right, and they should have paid her. But no, they're hypocrites, and they want to talk about equal pay, but they don't want to do it, which is super annoying because they're fucking assholes. I know her well. I love and adore her, and that's what she did, and it's great for her, he said. "I love everyone involved with Scream, and all I can say is pay her the money." Yes, you heard it, everyone. That's what I would do. I would give her that. He added, "One day they'll figure it all out. There will be more Scream movies for sure for Campbell to return to after the success of Scream 6. It bowed in March and broke franchise records by bringing a $168 million at the global box office. Williams executive produced the first recent installment, which was penned by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick. Good for them. So I pretty much have said what I want to say, but then that's just, pay her the money. Show me the money, and show Neve Campbell the respect that she deserves when it comes to the Scream franchise. It's just like Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis. You can't have a Halloween movie without Jamie Lee Curtis, and if you do, it's stupid. Although that last one was so bad. It was so bad. But yeah, so pay her the money, bring her back. I don't want to hear any nonsense over because I'm sorry, I didn't see the 6th one, but that 5th one was not very good. Like, it's like my least favorite as of right now. I have to see the 7th one to tell you what I think, but yeah, it was just a bad choice not to bring her back. And what's their name? Radio Silence. Shame on you for not trying harder, you fucking pussies. Stand up to the studio, be like, no, we need to pay her the money and everything. But yeah, they're all weak. They're all weak individuals. So yeah. So that, you guys, was my third and final story of the week. Sorry, it's been a slow news week in terms of stories just because of the strike and everything. So bear with me, you guys. But tell me, what do you guys think about all of this? How do you feel about Warner Brothers suspending all of their first look deals or all their overall deals with these producers? Do you think J.J. Abrams, Mindy Kaling, and Greg Berlanti should all just be shut down and gone and everything because of the force majeure clause? I think so. I think that they haven't produced anything of substance in, like forever. So I think they should be gone. And I wouldn't feel bad for them at all. I'm sorry, you're going to put out crappy material and you're going to make me suffer through it. Then I think you should get gone. You know what I'm saying? Also, tell me, what do you guys think about this Crow reboot movie? Do you think this is, something good? Do you think it's bad, good, whatever? How do you feel about Billy Skarsgård being in the new movie and being as the Crow? I don't know how I feel about it. I just hope they keep like the band aspect to it and keep the more gothic grittierness to it. I really feel like I a small piece of me wonders if they're gonna just like romanticize it, and I'm like, that's not what Daddy wants. I want the like that first movie, just like the very like gothic kind of, you know, dark elements of it and everything, because I really love that. I love that movie, and the comic book again is so good, you guys. And I am interested to see how Billy Skarsgård and this FKA Twigs does in this movie. You know, will it be, you know, as raw and gritty as that first film? We'll see what Rupert Sanders does with this movie. And then finally, you guys, tell me, how do you feel about this Kevin Williams guy saying they should pay Neve Campbell the money that she deserves to be in Scream? Do you think that he's wrong? Do you think that he's right? Do you think that Neve Campbell, her not being in that last movie, was still the movie was fine? Or do you think that it did you know, suffer because it didn't have her in that movie? There's no way it couldn't have suffered without her. There's no way it couldn't have suffered without her. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. She's fantastic, and in my opinion, needed for the franchise. But those are my thoughts, you guys. Tell me, what do you guys think about all of this? Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. You know, I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week on my Week in Review. You guys have a good week. Bye.
Hey nerds, if you like this video, go ahead and click that Geek What icon and subscribe. And if you like this video, go ahead and join me every Sunday with my Week in Review.